How's it going, everybody? We already got six people in here chatting.
Woo.
Jeff McGovern, as always.
Hey,
Daniel,
Jack.
Jason, Cam. Good to see ya.
Oh, Cam, that's a big scam. 9 out of 10 means it's 9/10 of a cent more than you think. So then they just round it up, but it makes it look lower. So if it's $3.99, you're actually paying $4.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, before we start, because he may or may not be watching, but Al McClure isn't here today.
Yep.
But he wanted me to wear this shirt because he got it for me for Christmas.
Can you guys see that okay?
Can you see that?
Do you get the reference?
Yep. Anybody who watches the Blue Cobalt build series will know that that's me, and there's a bolt right there flying towards an intake manifold.
Oh,
Oh.
It was a big ope.
So, anyways,
Yeah.
want to introduce yourself while you're
All right.
on the mic?
We're over here. Tyler V at ZZP.
Tim at ZZP.
Also known as Turbo Tim. I'm Trevor.
I'm Steve.
The only
Hey,
one you probably
Steve.
don't recognize is Steve.
Yeah.
I've been here
Most-
two or three times now.
Most of these guys will
Yeah.
know. I know Jason Swart would know. He's a 3800 dude.
If they're OG enough, they'll know Steve.
Yeah.
Want to be boosted. We always see you comment and on everything. And who are you? Sometimes we need to know names. You're active enough that I would like to know your name.
It is weird when we're in the office and we refer to people as wannabe boosted
Yeah.
or whatever their YouTube name is.
YouTube or Instagram or whatever. Oh, so what are we talking today?
We're talking
Yeah,
about
oh,
gas
man.
mileage.
I hope you guys are ready for this. Like this,
There's a
Coma
lot of
Hobby?
people in here, yeah.
Coma Hobby, or whatever. He brought up lowering his octane and lowering his boost.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, if my rule is a supercharged 3800, you can run 8 to 9 pounds of boost with premium 93, and then every pulley size you go up gives you about an octane point. So let's say you're running a let's see, I'm reading his thing here, a 3.5 to a 3.6. If you have a 3.6 and you have rockers and you have full exhaust and all that stuff, I would imagine you would be okay. But I would definitely not do that and assume it's okay until you scan it.
Yeah.
Scan it for KR.
Yep.
If it doesn't have any knock currently, I would think if you went up one pulley size and
Down
I think it would
in
offset
octane.
probably pretty close.
I like the one pulley size per octane
Yeah.
point.
Yeah,
So,
so-
like to go from 93 to 91, bump the pulley 2 sizes. But you know, like I said, I mean, just scan it. Just scan it, and if you don't have more than like 1 degree of KR, then you're okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Let's see what Tyler's
Yeah, let's
surprised
get into this bag before we get too deep into
Steve
gas.
wanted a surprise drink when I went to get some earlier, and I got one normal and one a little bit different. So let's see if he
What do we
wants
got
it.
here? Ooh,
Okay.
mocha iced coffee
Okay.
Yeah.
and a boosh.
And a bush.
Do you mix them or what's
Yeah,
Whatever.
whatever.
Please mix them.
It'll be the ultimate gas savings. Here's if I pound both of these, I'll have to walk home.
Will my
Infinity
car
miles per gallon.
run on Coronas?
All right, let's see how it is. One sip, you know the rules.
That is amazing.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
Tim, you like coffee, don't you?
No, not me.
You know?
I do like coffee.
You like
I will,
coffee?
You can do it.
tiny baby arms.
Get two guys with the shortest arms reaching across the table.
Happy
Okay, yeah,
Friday,
that is
everyone.
delicious.
All of you guys in the last 3 days?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
What are all of your cars, Steve? What's the average MPG they
The average MPG is right around 10 to 12, probably.
Woo.
In the wintertime, I drive a cammed Trailblazer SS. So this last tank of gas, I got 11. That was probably my best tank this whole winter.
Usually
about 8 or 9.
11's not terrible considering your converter's not locking. I mean,
Yeah,
once
my-
that problem is fixed, it'll be better.
Yeah, for sure. I'm okay with 11 right now. I don't have a locking converter, which is a higher stall than stock, and it's got a cam in it, and it's cold out, and
Yeah.
list has
Big brick driving down the road.
I thought I'd get the Camaro out the other day, but that's on the 85, so that's like getting 12.
Oh my gosh, I filled the Blue Cobalt out yesterday, and 10 gallons of E85 was $41.
Jeez.
And it hurt my soul.
I put $50 for the first time, I think, in the Echo's entire life in it.
In the Echo?
The Echo
crap.
$50.
It was like empty.
Oh my gosh,
Oh
we
my
have reached
gosh.
a new level of terribleness.
That has got to be a record of
It
the
has to
most
be.
money put into a tiny Echo.
That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like,
Coma Hobby, let's see. Yesterday, E85 was 410. Regular is 425, and so premium, you're up near 5 at this point.
yep, 480, 388, 488.
Yeah, 488.
E85 is still like 370 something out in Jenison. So I'm
If you
still
find
getting cheap.
a J&H
That's
store
pretty
or a
good.
Marathon around here, E85 was 355 the other day.
Okay.
It's 405 at Speedway.
Stand up.
But-
I already stood up.
You missed it, Ashley.
You missed it. See? It's
Unless
right
she's saying you got to go in front of the camera.
here. Oh, okay.
Full
I'll
tour.
present myself.
Filled my Cobalt up quarter tank. What?
Al's Christmas present to Tyler. Oh,
If you guys in the chat can, say what you drive and what MPG you're getting if you know it.
what I think is funny here about Steve is that Steve, I think, is the highest on the list for gas mileage monitoring and everything. I'm probably second, honestly. And he has the worst gas mileage vehicles.
Yep. He loves driving V8s.
I like to sound cool everywhere I go.
That is true.
That
is true.
I've finally converted to where everything I own has a V8 and a cam. And
Oh man. Yeah, the only
the other day I realized, I'm like, shoot, I have 4 cammed V8s in my garage.
the
This is
only
bad.
thing in your driveway that does not is your wife's Subaru,
Yeah.
and
And the
that's got a
Grom.
flat
Don't
flat
forget about
engine.
the Grom.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and the Grom. The Grom's got a cam.
Oh yeah.
Grom's got a
What is
cam.
it like this big?
Yeah, it does.
It's tiny.
Yeah, he just put that in there, too.
And a high compression piston.
Cam Mikkel, can you change that to freedom units, please? 9.2 liters per 100K. We don't know what that means.
Yeah, MC with the HHRSS. I think the LNF guys are doing the best right now.
Yeah.
Out of all of our platforms.
Those seem to do pretty well. yeah.
That's he must have a manual because my wife's HHRSS does not get great gas mileage. It gets like
Really?
21 all the time.
Print one of
be
these
the
papers out and hand it to her. Maybe she does one of these things we're about to talk about.
Yeah, maybe.
No kidding. I will say I do have to second the LNF. When I bought my Sky, it was 100% stock. I drove it home from Texas and got like 32 to 34 miles per gallon.
Yeah.
So I will say, like, I only have one LNF vehicle, but LNF wins, in my opinion, for best gas mileage to power ratio.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
The Sonics, I hear about Sonics and Cruzes getting over 35. I've never witnessed it myself, and mine personally gets like 22, but it is like teens for temperature here, and it is on E85.
Yeah.
But like my Sonic will never get over 30.
The-
Maybe I'll let Steve drive it for a couple days and see if he can pull it off, because Steve gets better mileage than me when he drives. I don't know how, because I try I feel like is hard, but
You have to zone out and just everything you've ever read on any hypermiling thread that you're like, you read this and you're like, wow, these weenies actually do this every day. But then, like, once you learn how to do it, you just kind of zone out. And you see the stoplight way ahead that's red, and you're like, just stop accelerating and coast for a minute. Like, you
Yeah.
don't need to stay going 60 until the last second.
Yes, you do, Steve.
I don't know how I found one of those threads of hypermiling. It was like a CRX forum, and it was like a 25-page of all
Oh,
these
yeah, there's-
dudes trying to get
Yep.
50
there's-
MPG. And
There was some guy I read the other day, I think it was a Prius or something like that, and he got like 2,600 miles on a tank of fuel or something like that.
Jeez.
What?
I don't even know how it was possible.
That's
but
insane.
he like
the-
drove across the country.
The only
one
time
tank.
I ever got really good gas mileage in my Sonic was when I bought it and drove it back across the state because I thought it had a bad head gasket. I drove like 68 the whole way, and I had the HP tuners up and just watching it, and that got me about 38 miles a gallon.
38?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was
Really?
crazy. But later did I find out that the wastegate was cracked and it had dropped a valve, so it probably wasn't really ever in boost,
Yeah.
which would explain
the
why.
turbine housing is flowing freely. you know.
Yeah, I don't know. But
With our LTZ, your drag LTZ basically, I was able to get like 29 and a half driving back and forth to work, and I know you,
I think I cracked 31 or 32 with it.
yeah.
there you go.
because Steve and I kind of had a thing where we were going back and forth with that car, and like he was always like 2 miles a gallon better than me.
Drive like a sissy.
So yeah,
Yep.
let's get into
Yeah.
tips then.
I think honestly,
onto the
we've
cruising, onto the cruising one and the coasting one. So Steve brought up cruising, coasting. When the light turns yellow, or it's been green a really long time, and you know it's going to turn yellow before you get to it, just coast.
Yeah.
And like each vehicle is different. Like some vehicles have like a lean coast to where they shut the fuel injectors off. I will say a Grand Prix does that. A Grand Prix will cut full fueling and just coast, and the engine will pretty much shut off but be spinning. A lot of these new drive-by-wire cars hang the throttle open and never go into a lean coast.
Really?
So
My Camaro does that.
so it depends. Like some vehicles you might be better off pushing in the clutch and let it idle as you're coasting. Some vehicles you're better off decelling because it shuts the fuel injectors off. But if you know you're not going to get the next light red, just coast.
Yeah, coast. I mean, drag it out as long as you can. If you're lucky, it'll
could
turn
al-
green before you're fully stopped.
And you can
that's-
always watch. I
yeah,
don't know
watch
if
the
there's
other. if you can
watch
see at
the
night or
other
something.
lights or the crosswalk.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of crosswalks have timers and stuff
If it's
on
going
them.
down to 1, then
Yeah.
boop, you're good.
Hopefully, you can avoid stopping entirely.
Yep.
That's where all your gas is spent, is getting that thing moving. I mean, think when we go outside and push a car in a broken car, it's 5 guys grunting trying to get the car out of the parking space.
Yep.
And once it's going, one person can push it.
That's
Another
a good analogy.
Another one. When you're cruising down the highway, I think this applies to just Sonics. That engine is so anemic for the car, since it's like a generator engine and it's not really meant for a car. That if you're if you have like a Cruze Eco or a Sonic with the tall gearing, if you're in 6th gear at like 60, you're probably cruising with like 4 or 5 pounds of boost.
Yep.
So like having a boost gauge in the car and playing with what gear you're in to keep it out of boost is going to do wonders.
You might get better mileage in 5th gear if you're only
Yes.
going
My
60 or
my
something.
LTZ on the highway in 5th would be less boost, like you said, than 6th would. And 6th, you can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only for cruising in that car because it's so underpowered. But that kind of brings up another thing. On any small turbo stock car, it seems a little bit backwards, but going to a bigger turbo could potentially
High
save
K.
you mileage
Yes.
because then you're out of boost.
Another big one is just like have your car running optimally. Have all your sensors working. Have good spark plugs. Have good wires. Like
O2
make sure.
sensors.
Clean your air filter, change your oil,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
put air in your tires.
Pull-
like
Yeah.
normal stuff that everybody should be doing anyways.
Pull
Like,
your air filter out, and especially if it's a recleanable one like a K&N or a ZZPs, and clean it. It's
Yeah.
Basically free. I
Yeah,
mean,
you probably don't even have to wash it. Just
Bang it
beat
on the sidewalk a couple
yeah.
times.
yeah. get all the leaves and stuff out of it.
Yeah, bang all the dirt out of the pleats. and-
Anything that has a like, I don't know what you would call it, cartridge kind of style where it just drops into an airbox.
Looks like a vacuum.
Yeah. Take it out, and I guarantee you it will be full of leaves and dirt and crap. And yeah, if you're choking down your engine, you're not going to get good gas mileage.
and you'll make more power.
Yeah. So I know one that you always talk about, Steve. Go ahead about the converters on a 3800.
A lot of the older 3800 cars, when you go to 0% throttle on them, they unlock the torque converter so you can coast down. And if you are tailgating and constantly on gas, off the gas, on the gas, off the gas, your converter is almost never locked. Joe that used to work here in the front office was complaining about his mileage, and I was like, just take me for a ride and let me observe for a minute. And I noticed he was doing that. We're in a 45, 50 mile an hour zone, and he's just on, off, on, off, on, off. And he only got like 20 miles per gallon in his Grand Prix. And gave him some tips on that, like just stay back a little bit and let your converter do its job. Let it lock up, bring your RPMs down, keep a steady speed, and he gained a bunch of mileage from doing that.
And I got a quick pointer for you, 3800 guys. Sometimes when you buy like our mail order tune, it's possible that file might not work with your tranny. We do have multiple files for a couple years car. So you can do a simple test on the highway. You just like maintain like, let's say 70 miles an hour, and you stare at your tack. And with your foot lightly on the gas, maintaining the speed, take your other foot and just tap the brake pedal. Not enough to feel the brakes come on, just enough to
Activate
let's
Enough to
say
make the lights come on.
Yep, make the brake lights come on. And if your RPM bumps up about 300 RPM or maybe a little more. And then when you let off the brake pedal, they just pull back down. Your converter's working. If your tach does not change at all when you do that, that means your converter is not locking and it needs to be diagnosed because that's like 3 or 4 miles per gallon.
Yeah,
so
at
that's
least.
crucial.
Yeah.
Like
And
contact us. We'll work with you to get you through it.
And it generates a lot of heat, so it's really bad for your transmission on top of that.
Yep.
As you drive around with an unlocked converter.
Hey,
Trailblazer every day.
that's not for you to worry about.
Yeah. So poor Steve's had his tranny out of his truck like 3 times trying to get the converter.
Hey, that
to
was
work.
that was probably my best gas mileage mod this winter was playing Oops All Neutrals with my SS and then driving the Tesla for a week.
Yeah,
that worked out pretty good.
Steve still has a 4L60 in his Trailblazer, so that's unfortunate.
Yeah, many neutrals.
Many neutrals. Yeah, see, Chris Tech, he's got a ZFR and he gets much better miles per gallon. Since
There you
ZFR.
go. Yep.
That's what we're selling here
Yeah.
is pleasure and miles per gallon with bigger turbos.
The bigger one I know you wanted to talk about, Tyler, is Supercharger versus Turbocharger.
Yeah. So LSJs are notoriously bad for gas mileage. Like a 93 bone stock LSJ will only get 22 or 23 miles per gallon. Like it's not good. It combination of gearing and the blower and everything, but I got way better gas mileage going to Z54 over my
Entry level kit.
Yep.
I
entry level kit.
took our yellow Cobalt up north about 100 miles away from here a few weeks back, and I don't know what was going on, but the dash said I was getting like 40 miles per gallon. I'm all excited. I'm like, heck yeah, I'm saving all kinds of money this weekend driving this Cobalt. And next thing I know, it's like low fuel. Like, what the hell's going on?
Yep.
I did the math, and it was like 25 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
they're
come on.
They're not good. So for LSJ guys, another reason to go turbo is better miles per gallon.
Yeah, that supercharger takes horsepower to spin it. So, even with the bypass open, it still takes power. So a turbo doesn't. And a turbo, like most LSJ guys probably have too much exhaust, so they're probably a little down on the torque down there. So, the turbo is just enough of a choke point feeding that turbine wheel to give you some torque and, and you're not burning any with a supercharger.
Yeah.
Whatever your belts are hooked up to are robbing power and gas mileage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Really everything.
yep.
Another one, hey, you guys with cracked up front ends and cracked up rear ends, like, a Grand Prix, let's say, even though Grand Prix are number 2 on my list of best gas mileage vehicles we sell parts for, is like the rear bumper cover is a gigantic parachute, a gigantic parachute. Getting the air out from under the car and not hitting your parachute would be big. Or having a car, like, let's say your front bumper cover is not, like, it's missing the plastic or it's damaged. Like, that's going to be a big parachute on the front of the car.
Or your
like,
lower air dam's gone, so it's not directing air where it needs to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always have to have that.
Even like, I don't know about our cars, but I have heard of cars that a front lip has noticeable MPG gains.
I can
Or
imagine.
lowering it or something like that.
I mean, really anything anything that you think of in drag racing that's going to reduce your drag to
Yeah.
go faster is also going to help your miles per gallon. So
Ryan's Snowball, he's got the big APR wing on the back, and he used to have it at, I don't know the angle, but it was
Oh,
super
yeah.
steep. And
he
he
had
said
it
he
at
got
a
terrible
huge
gas
angle
mileage.
of attack.
And he raked it back flat and got, I don't know, 2 or 4 MPG, I think
Yeah,
he
I
said.
believe it.
Oh yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah, no doubt. So yeah, if you want to cut speed holes in your bumper, it might help. Just
I
manually.
had behind my license plate cut out on my Grand Prix, and I put a nut and bolt in the top 2 only and left them loose, like a jam nut on it,
so
that
it
it
could flap?
could move just enough to kind of vent and
air.
let some air come out.
I one-upped you on this one. I cut the whole area out behind the license plate so you couldn't see it when the plate was down. I zip-tied the top of the license plate, and I put 1 bolt in the bottom. So when I went to the drag strip, I'd just take the bolt out of the bottom, and the
Flip
license
right
plate
out.
would just blow right out of the way.
There you
and
go.
another one, this one is not so secret. You could see it all the time. Is the license plate is inset into the bumper, so I cut the sides of it out.
Oh,
So
yeah, I forgot about
you
that.
can
yeah.
cut like a 1-inch by 6-inch slot out of the sides of that, and air comes out of the bumper that way.
It's
so-
not super noticeable or
Yeah.
anything like that.
And I thought one thing I wanted to do is I wanted to cut some like trap doors in my bumper and then put hinges on it. so those flaps would just blow open when there was a positive pressure there.
Sounds
I
like
never
a
did
real-
that, but I
real
wanted to do
NASCAR
it.
move.
Yeah, some gurney flaps.
Yeah.
Lighter wheels, that's a really good suggestion. That's,
yeah.
One of the things on our list here is weight reduction.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, nice one,
actually
Matt.
reminds me, I didn't have on the list, driving around a bunch of crap in your car.
Yeah.
I had this friend back in the Grand Prix Club days that would have every tool that he owns in the back seat in the trunk of his Grand Prix.
Bow cob.
Worse. This guy had to have had 600 or 700 pounds. I mean, his car looked like a lowrider. It was
What?
full toolboxes, like 2 dudes to grab the toolbox and set it in the trunk of the car.
What do you
And-
need all that for?
just in case. But when you drive around with 800 pounds of crap in the trunk of your car, and
Yep.
It's like pulling a trailer.
yeah, exactly.
Like, seriously.
Pretty much.
I am glad Matt brought up lighter wheels. Like,
Yeah.
I do not buy wheels without finding out the weight of them. Like, wheels, I think when I was a kid, I put wheels on my car and I pulled out of Bell Tire is where I bought them from, and I immediately noticed my brakes were worse. The car accelerated slower, like, just because I didn't pay attention. You know, if you take a 16-pound wheel off a Grand Prix and you put a 25-pound wheel on it, you're gonna notice
That's
that.
a big difference.
You know, and that's rotational weight times 4.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
wheel weight.
Huge.
I did the same thing. My 98 Saturn SW2. I bought some rims online.
Yeah.
And I thought they were black and they had fake silver
Rivets?
like, rivets around the edge. And I went from the stock 15 Steelies to these 17s, and they
To
were
these 2 pieces.
yeah, 2-piece wheels. And I remember I did the same thing. I went to Bell Tire and they mounted the tires up, and I pulled out and I was like, holy crap, what happened?
My car is so
Thing's
slow.
a turd.
all 100 horsepower that I had was now 75.
Yep.
So
Yep.
RPF ones on everything, basically, is what we're
Pretty
saying.
much.
Pretty much what we're saying.
That's what I have on my Sonic right now.
Yep.
RPF 17 RPF 1 17x9s.
Tires too. I'm one of those people that had a 200 horsepower car, put a wide body on it,
Yep.
put 12-inch wide wheels on it, tires, and you can definitely feel the difference.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And like, it
Yeah.
seems cool to just put massive tires, but if you don't need them, why would you?
Yeah.
It's all
It does-
negatives.
Yeah.
It does suck.
And going along with that, obviously, tire pressure. If
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you're rolling around on 22 psi, you need to pump that up. Pump those numbers up, baby.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And they have high efficiency tires too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Zoom, the owner of ZZP, he's got his Tesla, and he has put more tires on that car than us,
Yes.
the racers, have run on
Yeah.
their vehicles. And he can tell you, like, this tire gets the best fuel economy. This tire is the quietest tire. Like, he knows all that stuff to the T.
Yeah.
Alignment.
Yep.
Alignment. Yeah.
Alignment.
If you've got all
Good
sorts of
alignment.
toe out, your
It's
wheels
drag.
are trying to go like this down
Yeah.
the road.
Tight control arms,
Yeah.
ball joints,
Yep.
like all those joints.
Just like you said, general maintenance. You know,
Yes.
if you've got bushings that are flopping around like this and your control arms are shaking when you're
Yep.
going down the road, that's excess movement, which is
Yep.
energy transferred in other places.
When
It's
rather
not like
when
we're
you're-
talking like 5 miles per gallon with this stuff, but
Yeah.
it's
Ounces
going to
make
add to your
pounds.
enjoyment of the
Yes.
ounces make pounds, and it will add to the enjoyment of the car. You're going to get the best performance out of it. You're going to hop on the highway and be like, oh wow, this isn't wandering all over the place
Yep.
anymore. It's not shaking. It's like quiet, and just
Let's
fixing
say-
your car and getting it running properly is going to be awesome.
Let's say you did everything on our list on a vehicle that just needed a little bit of everything. This could be a 5 to 8 mile per gallon change.
Yeah, easily.
Oh,
Easily.
Oh, yeah. If it's an old, kind of worn out Cobalt Grand Prix, something like that, you could get probably up to 10.
Yep.
Yeah.
With a lot of these things.
If somebody's been doing it and rally racing it,
Taking
like
off
before you
sweet
got
jumps.
it, like yeah, it could be whooped. It could have 15,000 miles on it and be whooped.
Yeah, it could. This is a good question for Steve and Tim. Paul says, can some cams help mile per gallon?
No,
They will
Absolutely
not.
not.
You know,
never.
if you if you don't drive like an idiot, it's not going to destroy it. My Grand Prix still got 28, 29 on the expressway with an NIC cam and 329 gears, stock height tires and stuff
Grand
like
Prix
that.
are kind of a crazy one.
No,
Kevin and Fran
I know
Upton,
how much.
Kevin and Fran
those guys
Upton,
got ridiculous mileage.
they ran 1180s in their GTP and got 28 miles per gallon.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
I went
That's
12
pretty
O's in
sweet.
mine. I get 28, 29 on the highway and go run 12 O's at the track with it.
Holy crap.
I know
What?
how much.
That's
I
not
know how
bad
much
at
Tim
all.
loves LS motors, but even when I had that monster cam and the 4K converter in my Trailblazer, once I was on the highway, I could get about 15, and it was rated at 16 from the factory.
Okay.
And that was a really, really huge cam that I had in that thing, and it sucked around town. Around idling, but
99% of LS engines that put a cam in them lose 5 miles per gallon instantly.
Well, if our Escalade is any indication of what you can do wrong, it is that.
we eliminated DOD. We
Yep.
added 456 gears.
And a
Put a
cam.
big put a cam in it.
We did the exact opposite, and now it gets like 10.
We did
Jason,
everything wrong.
bad.
Jason, I'm sorry. LS FTL. Okay? like, LSs are terrible. terrible.
Ethan said something, though. How fast do you drive on the highway? And
Yeah.
speed
Yes.
is a big factor. Zoom was saying the other day at lunch, the force that a car carries and exerts at 60 miles per hour is not half of 120, but half of 85. So think of that in trying to propel your vehicle
Oh, yeah.
forward. So, and that's why we talked about Sonics. Like mine got really good gas mileage at 68 instead of 75. A variety of things, but your car's aerodynamics. I mean, there's all sorts of things that go into it. But if you are a 80 mile per hour driver on the highway, back it down to 70 one day
Yep.
and see what your
Yeah.
difference is, and it's gonna be pretty big.
In a Sonic,
Yeah.
gigantic.
Ethan was asking how fast we drive on the highway. Generally, I don't drive like super slow on the highway when I do my testing and stuff like that. General rule of thumb is 7 to 10% over the
Over,
posted
yeah.
speed limit is generally keeps you out of trouble and out of the crosshairs from the local cops. So
Yeah, that's me too.
Northern Michigan, our highways are 75. I usually do about 80, 81.
Yeah.
Call that good.
Yeah.
I'm usually an under, honestly, like 65. So my daily driver is geared so short that it's just insane. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like my 60 is what most cars' 70s are.
Yeah.
It's like 3,200 or whatever.
Wait till the summer when we're on the Groms and
Really?
we only go 50.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
Get all the gas.
they're real
mileage,
short.
huh?
And
It's a
6
6-speed? Holy crap. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's aggressive.
65 miles per hour is 3,200 RPM.
Something like that. It's
Wow.
like 68 or whatever.
I mean,
just under.
The LSJ stock gearing isn't great either.
Love you, Drew.
At 75, it's 3,000 in the blue cobalt. 3,000 RPM.
yeah.
So
Hey, Drew, while you're on there, why don't you tell everybody about your Corvette, your GS? Tell them the before and after gas mileage of your cam swap. He has a Corvette, so you know he was getting like 28 to 29 miles per gallon before cam, and I'll let him tell you guys what it did after.
That's an amazing example of aerodynamics.
Yes.
The Corvette. Like,
Yeah, turn the headlights on and lose 4 miles per gallon.
yeah.
Yeah, for
William, my car was supercharged back then.
Yep.
you had a Corvette?
No, not a Corvette. My
What?
Grand Prix.
Oh.
Way cooler.
Way cooler.
Way cooler.
Next one, let's go to excessive idling. You people, Ryan Derrick, if you're listening, Ashley Miller, maybe possibly too. Like, if you fire up your car and let it idle for like 10 minutes once or twice, that is a ton of fuel.
Are you talking in a row?
Yeah.
Like when Ryan lets his car run for 10 minutes 3 times in a row?
or all day?
Or all day. He does.
Doesn't he let his Cobalt run for like 3 hours?
No.
Out in the parking
I've
lot?
seen it
Never.
for
I've
3
never
hours.
seen that
I've
happen.
seen it 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's happened.
Like, you know, in the winter, obviously, I fire up my car at least 5 minutes. And I will say, honestly, it's probably 5 minutes I fire it up. Because I don't want to waste gas, but I do want to not feel guilty jumping in and starting it and taking off.
Yeah.
But
I'll
in the
pay
summer,
extra to be warm when I get in my car.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
care.
yeah, like 5 minutes is generally pretty okay, especially for a turbo car because they hold that heat in from the turbo, back pressure. But during the summer, I don't fire it up at all. I just if it's
No, I don't either.
75 degrees, I start it up and take off.
Yeah.
I
I
get
won't
it.
punch it, but like I just start it up and take off.
I always
Started
get
by
in.
the time you get your seatbelt on and
Yeah.
turn the radio or whatever and put all your crap on the seat. And
I just
ready
let
to
it
go.
come down from cat warm up, and then I go.
That sounds
In
about
my
right.
cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Same.
a sidebar to that, which a lot of people don't realize still, a lot of people think they can warm it up for a half hour, hop in, and just go crazy punching it. But your
Yeah.
transmission isn't warm.
Nope.
None of your drivetrain is warm. Your diffs, your
Yeah.
wheels, your brakes,
The
like
oil
your
might be
engine
a
oil-
little
yeah,
warm.
you're
but
still hurting things. So
Yeah.
you got to get it moving and warm it up, and then
Yeah, oil is not going to get hot just sitting there idling.
no.
You know, it needs some like drive time. You definitely do not want to beat on a cold car. We have had so many customers like, please don't do this. Like we've had customers fire up the car stone cold and just punch it down 28th Street. It's like this thing is cold. Like it's
12
cold.
seconds of runtime and you're sideways out of the parking.
Yeah,
all of
like,
us in the office are like, no,
Yeah,
stop it.
please don't break it and turn around and be upset with us.
If you pick up your car here and drive off like that, Ryan will call you. I've
Yes, he
seen him
will.
do it.
He has.
Yeah. He'll
Oh,
call
I
you
love
right
that.
back and tell you to get off the car.
Yeah. Ooh, Drew, 29 mile per gallon down to 18.
Yeah.
Eee.
Was that on E85?
No.
Ew.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like 93 in meth, right?
mean,
on
yeah.
that car.
Yeah, he went.
Ew, that's still double what I get on anything I own. So.
He went from Drew can chime in again, but he went from I think 10.7 to 9.8 with the cam swap. So I mean a significant power gain. But
If
yeah,
you
his
can
gas
run
mileage
nines
gone.
at 20 miles per gallon.
That's-
I don't think you could really complain
No,
about that.
not at all.
Yeah.
Steve, you want to talk about efficient trips?
Yes, I've noticed as we get busy, I started coming in a little bit earlier than normal. And I've noticed if I leave my house at like 5 to 10 minutes after the hour, there's no traffic all the way here. If I leave at 1:45, it's just busy. Everybody's almost to work, driving like
Ding
idiots
dongs.
and- yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people have those commutes that can be anywhere from, let's say you have a 10-minute drive home in perfect traffic, but it could be 30 if there's traffic. Like,
It
Yeah.
takes me 12 to 15 minutes to get here in the morning at like 6:30, 7 o'clock, and it takes me 25 to 30 to get home if I leave here at 5.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
a lot
It's-
more fuel.
Yeah, for sure. Especially idling around town and stopping constantly and whatnot.
Yeah. Anytime your car is idling, you are getting 0 miles per gallon.
Negative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, negative.
Yeah, negative because
literally
you're
negative.
burning fuel and not going anywhere.
And like some of you LSJ guys and Sonic guys that are running like large injectors that your stoic is not stoic at idle, that's bad.
Yep.
You know,
you're
an
just
LSJ with
dumping.
60s, like, man, it's sitting there at like 12 to 1 air fuel ratio, just sitting there idling and
Yeah.
choking itself.
Yep.
Ooh.
I have a commute that's 15 minutes by highway or by back roads too, and I normally take the back roads just because it's more fun.
Yeah.
In the sky, we'll get, I don't know, under 20 on the back roads, but yeah, 30 on the highway. So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. You know, what do you value more?
Yeah.
Your fun or your
if
gas
gas
is
is
MPGs?
$5, it's like I'll just take
You
the
get
highway
worse
today.
mileage. You get worse at 55, 60 than you do at highway.
Because I stop and go so many times.
Oh, I
'Cause,
see. Okay, yeah.
it's a zigzag diagonal
Oh.
versus a highway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
not like a country road
Yeah.
55 because typically 55 in a lot of cars is your
Yeah.
really, really sweet
I have
spot.
a route that I go every couple weekends to my friend's house. It's like 35 or 6 miles from my house. And if I take the back way, there's like, I think 2 or 3 stop signs along it. But awesome gas mileage. I'm going 60 the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's scenic. And you get to run into deer. And
Yeah, ask Bo Cobb about running into deer on the way home, on the way to work.
That dude, didn't he have 3 deer hits
In one week.
week?
1 week. 3
Like-
different cars, too.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, he hit a deer. Thursday, he finally didn't.
He hit it in
man.
the GXP, the Jeep, and then
The Jeep again. I
the
think.
Jeep. Okay, so it wasn't 3 cars, but still.
Like,
Also,
the poor
another guy with the longest commute here and the
And
worst
he
gas
drives the.
mileage.
He had a
he's got a big block F-150 and
He
drives
had
40 some miles.
a straight 6 Jeep, which are awful
Yes.
gas mileage. He has a giant big block F250 from the
Yup.
late 80s or early 90s, and then he's got a V8 GXP and
With a
then-
cam in it.
With a cam in it, and then the Buick is
Turbo
it's on E85, so it gets like 14, but.
Yeah.
That I assume he also beats on the entire way here.
We were doing the math the other day. I think you were here, Tyler, and he could almost pay for a Model 3 payment with the gas.
With the gas that he
every
spends,
month.
yeah. I mean, if you're driving an hour each way, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Me and a couple buddies today, we're talking about because the whole initiative now is to move to electric cars, but a lot of us can't afford a car payment on an electric car. But if you're driving that much and you're spending that much in gas, then maybe it could offset. But like for me, I have no car payment and I drive 15 minutes. Like,
Yeah,
I'm never gonna make up a $800 a month car payment.
Yeah.
Did you see this Jason Smith guy? Like, I'd hate to call BS, but I just do not believe that one bit. Number one, a Subaru getting 38 miles per gallon, or even 25. Like, Subarus are terrible.
Yeah, that's
Have
what
you
I've heard.
mathed that out, or is that on your dash? Because if you put giant injectors in it,
Yeah, it'll
it's
say you're
going-
getting a
our
lot better.
Cobalts do the same thing. You put 80-pound injectors in them, and they double. Damn
Like,
near
I
double
just-
the
I
gas
just
mileage
don't-
on the dash, the indicated.
Subarus are infamous for bad gas mileage.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
and then
my-
a mod one, like, no
My
way.
wife's 21 Forester doesn't get 30. Like, it's like 30-31 with me driving it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of all-wheel drive cars just naturally get
Yeah.
much worse.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
all-wheel
I don't-
drive does sap.
The ATSs seem to not really have that though. Not significant,
Yeah,
anyways.
not that I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't had enough experience driving both, like an all-wheel drive and a
see
rear
A to
drive,
B,
but
yeah.
the ATSs do have the bind that all the all-wheel drive cars seem to have. Like if you're in a rear drive one and you just turn the wheel and pop it in neutral, an all-wheel drive car will stop
Yep.
Yeah.
if you make a full left turn, to where the rear drive will just keep going.
Yeah.
I know my Explorer had a all-wheel drive transfer case in it, and that's no fun. That's boring. So I switched it to a four-wheel drive transfer case, and it was like night and day.
Yeah.
That truck coasted better. It turned corners better. It was amazing.
Yeah,
Really?
even not turning all-wheel drive cars don't roll like front or rear cars
Just
do,
from
because
the
they drag
drag.
themselves down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if they're like an auto all-wheel drive, like
Yeah.
a manual, you can kind of disconnect everything and cruise. But
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jason, just in case, it depends on the tuner. We like on an LSJ, we have to backscale the math for really big injectors, and when you do that, it tells the computer there's less airflow, so the computer thinks it's less fuel, even though it has a whole bunch of fuel because the injectors are large. So that artificially inflates the gas mileage. Same with like an LNF Cobalt with our F40
Opals.
kit.
Yeah.
That's inflated as well because we have to do weird things with the speedo pickup to where the odometer reads correctly, but the speed reports like 3.2 to 1 less than what it
Yeah.
actually is. So it'll say you're getting like 60 miles to the gallon
Yeah.
when you're getting
This
like
thing's
20.
Awesome.
Like, but
Added a 6-speed and added 40 miles per gallon. Sweet.
yeah. Even though it does gain probably a ton of gas mileage.
Oh yeah,
But,
F35s. There are no real good gear ratios.
is the F23 better final drive than
It
35?
depends on which one you get.
Oh,
You can get an F23 in a 410 or a 4
Oh boy.
something like super short. And so that's what Mike has in his G5, and in fifth on the highway at 70 it's doing like 4,000.
oh,
But if you need to accelerate fast, or am I going the wrong way?
No.
I never understand
Yeah.
gear
I think
ratios.
you
were
said it right.
Taller number is shorter gears, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
With the Sonics, the Sonic RS,
Yeah.
the Sonic RS training is kind of stupid and worthless, in my opinion.
Kind of terrible.
The gearing is so short that first gear is unusable.
Completely.
Like you first gear is just to get you rolling, and then you're shifting into second at like 10 or
if
less.
the car's 100% stock, an RS would probably be funner to drive. But anything other
Or
than
if-
that,
just the
Slow
power
stuff.
added.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kyle had his RS Sonic that Randy purchased, and he at 75, if I recall, is cruising about 3,700 RPM. My Sonic with the 1.8 Cruze tranny that Al did a bunch of research and found, because when I bought my RS Sonic, I needed a tranny, and Al's like, "Hey, buy this 1.8 Cruze." So I put that in it. It's amazing. Mine cruises at 3,000. So my tranny is
wow.
way better than the LTZ tranny, and it's like kind of a mix of like the between the LTZ and the RS tranny, and definitely like way better than like the Cruze Eco. The
Yeah.
Cruze Eco is
Yeah, those things are
terrible for
turds.
like that.
Those are
It's great for gas
really,
mileage.
Really long.
it's great for gas mileage, but
I'll have to drive
man,
your Sonic. I don't think I've driven that actually since you got it.
The
It's-
1.8 trans on a Sonic is a complete game changer.
Yes.
Like, it is. It's a totally different car. It's
Yep.
crazy.
Definitely
They're
the way to
probably
go on that.
Pretty easy to find too, right?
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
think.
Not any more difficult than anything else.
Yeah.
No,
no, it's cheap. It was like what, $400?
if that.
Like the 1.8 Cruze tranny is super cheap to buy.
The only one you don't want is the 1112. You want
Yep.
a 13 plus 1.8 Cruze manual.
Yeah.
There you go.
Renee, yeah, you're totally okay for long distance driving. Just
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
take some of the things we took or said into effect. You know, watch your boost. Really, and this goes to anybody. Get some way to monitor your car. You know, we have a lot of customers who may never look at any sort of parameters that their car is doing, but you can get an Aeroforce Interceptor if you really want to go affordable. I bought one of those. What are they called?
ELM Bluetooth adapter deals.
Yeah, you
They're
can
like
buy one of
$12 or something.
one of those and hook it up to Torque Pro, which is $20 on your phone. But monitor boost while you're driving on the highway. You know, it's great for monitoring KR, engine coolant temps. Anyone with a Sonic should have some sort of scan gauge to tell you your coolant temp because
They
you
have a
will
dummy-
overheat.
They have a dummy light, and that's it.
And
Yeah,
and it's too
Renee-
late.
It's way too late.
Renee, like that, your setup you just described is what is done to my Sonic. So, you know, mine has a couple more things, but yeah, I love that thing. Like if anybody wanted to build a Sonic, I would just send them my mod list, and it's like perfect.
Yeah,
You know, it's
your Sonic is perfect. Mine was basically the same thing: 42s, V3, tune, intercooler, charge pipes, ported manifold, like all that.
Yep.
And the couple weeks I drove it before I sold it, just going back and forth to home was 27 miles per gallon, and that's mixed. And that's pretty solid for 93.
yeah.
Ooh, Paul brings up a good point. Will let's say will an aftermarket exhaust improve or hurt gas mileage? I'd say the first thing is weight.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of stock exhausts are
Really heavy.
extremely heavy.
Yeah, the losing weight of you know, making this is of course assuming that your aftermarket exhaust is lighter than stock. I would say most of the time they are,
Yep.
but if you get some China, you know, catback, then it might be just as heavy or heavier. But you can put too much exhaust on the car.
Yeah.
If you have 1 7/8 headers on your LS with a dual 3-inch exhaust and a stock cam and stock everything else, you probably just hurt your gas mileage.
Yeah.
Probably going to lose power under the curve. You're going to lose
Yeah.
grunt to get out of the hole.
Yeah, my truck, I had an LS Dune truck, and I specifically ordered 1 5/8 header primaries because it was NA, and I wanted like some torque.
Yep.
And then I had like a dual 2.5-inch exhaust. Like I specifically made everything to like the power level I wanted, and it did pretty decent.
There's a lot of calculators online that you can find that
Yeah.
will tell you how much horsepower an exhaust system will
Yeah,
support.
will
Like
support.
it'll say a 2.5-inch pipe supports X amount of power, dual
Which is a
2.5s.
lot.
Yeah, a lot more than you would think.
A lot more than you think.
Like a single 3-inch exhaust will support like 500 or 600 wheel horsepower or something ridiculous, like way higher
Agreed.
than you would think.
yeah. Any
unless you're
LSJ guy,
trying to turn it up to 11, and
you
know.
do not need a
Yeah.
3-inch exhaust.
No LSJ needs
No.
a 3-inch exhaust.
99% of you do not need a 3-inch exhaust. Just stick with the 2.5. Oh yeah, Josh from Cat 5 said 441 is the highest F23, and Mike's is a 417. The 441 was only in the View, I think, or maybe it was some weird HHR. I don't know.
441.
441.
I
That's
think, isn't that
really,
the gear ratio I had in my my Ion? Didn't I have that guy? It was an F35 tranny, but I had those wild 440 something gears in it.
I don't know.
Are those are
been so long.
445, weren't they?
Yeah, 445. That's what I had in my Ion.
Is that
Yeah.
like an NA gear set or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan had one of those.
Man,
in
that
his
was a long
Snowball
time
for a
ago.
little while too.
Yeah, Ryan had a crazy one at one point in time.
Yeah.
That like officially qualifies as back in the day, I think.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like nobody does that anymore.
Yep.
Like the only car I would recommend doing that would be either an NA car or probably a supercharged car, just to keep the gearing tight as possible.
Like a purpose-built race car or something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
But me personally, I'm still a huge fan of like the 2007 Saab, you know, F40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a good mix. It's like a good performance 6-speed that you still have a cruising realistic like RPM for the
Advantage, yeah.
highway. You know, the 382 in the LNF is pretty decent, but an F40 from the Saab will drop that a couple hundred RPM, and you gained another gear.
Another overdrive gear.
Yeah.
So all cruising.
Well, I want to talk more about hypermiling.
Oh.
Do you want to go through each platform and figure out what our hypermiling build would be? Start with 3800.
All right.
So you all got stock 3800s. What do you do for full gas mileage?
Well, first thing would
build?
be which W body
Oh yeah,
do you choose?
you want the lightest. You want the
boy.
most
You
You want the
aerodynamic.
lightest or aerodynamics?
I'd pick a
coupe.
97 to 03 Grand Prix, and I
Probably.
would do 1.9 rockers.
Okay.
Yep.
Probably a 3-inch downpipe, stock catback.
You think a 3-inch or a 2.5?
I would probably do a 3-inch downpipe and like a 3/4 pulley with rockers and a stock catback, stock resonator. Keep it nice and quiet.
You'd keep it supercharged.
Yeah.
Oh,
for
and
sure.
let's talk about this one. Like this is, you know, we talked about the Ecotechs and having all the different gear options. We talked about Sonics too. You know, Sonics have that. Regals, you know, the Ecotech Regals. So pretty much all of our platforms have gear options. The 3800 has gears in the transmission options. You have a 293 and a 329. You can take the 293 and switch the big gear for the small gear, and you have 369. So that's 3 gears. So you can have, starting from the lowest, highest RPM cruising speed, you have 369, 329, or 29. 369.
Start over.
Where's our whiteboard
329, and then 293. And then on top of that, you have 2 differentials. You have a 329 differential, which let's call a 1-to-1.
Okay.
So that 329 differential, 1-to-1's the gear ratios in the tranny. And then you have a 305, which is a
Impala.
10%
Yeah.
overdrive
That
differential.
was like Impala Monty, something weird.
So you have 2 differentials, and you have 3 different gear ratios in the tranny. So like the circle track guys, you know, this isn't gas mileage, but for circle track guys, if you only achieve X mile an hour, you can change those gears around to like optimize your circle
So
track.
yeah, a lot of those guys will play with their gear ratio, so they're almost at the rev limiter in second gear.
Yeah.
So
All
the
they
time.
never have to shift.
Yep.
Yep. And then you can
H-bodies,
use these.
those H bodies got that 270 whatever diff. In
I
them,
think
too.
that's a 292 with the
the
305.
Poopy combination, and it gives
Yeah.
you like a 270 something.
Yeah.
Dang.
280. The lowest I know of is a 286.
I don't even.
But there might be
This
another
stuff's so
one.
old, I don't even remember anymore.
Like
None of
I
this is
think
making any sense.
I think it's but basically,
Words,
you know,
numbers, you know.
it's like bicycle
Yeah.
gears.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, you have your
Big-
front gear
big
and your
one and
small
the rear
and your rear gear, and you can change them around. But for a 3800, you can change the gears. You can take and put a 305 or a a 286 gear in your GTP if you cruise on the highway at 80 miles an hour every day. I mean, this is very possible to have a GTP that makes more than stock horsepower and gets 32 to maybe 34 miles per gallon.
So yeah, if you did,
Confidently 30. Like,
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
be confident in building a 97-03 Grand Prix that gets reliably 30 miles per gallon on the highway and probably runs low 13s in the quarter mile.
so if
Yeah.
you did what, the 290 gears and then
Well,
305
that's
diff?
technically stock. So the stock gears
If
and
you
then
put
the
like
mods
the
Steve
Bonneville
mentioned.
gears and some bolt-ons and stuff like that,
Yeah.
those things get great mileage.
Even my lacrosse that I had for a little while on the highway would get 28 miles a gallon. It was a Series 3 stock 3800. Like,
And they're
Yep.
a giant car. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense the
no,
mileage that those things got.
it's very surprising. The two platforms that you wouldn't think would get great gas mileage is 3800s and then LNFs.
Yep.
And
But
they're
LNFs
still,
break all the rules.
They really do. 3800s, they still get like, they're still a quick car for the gas mileage to
Yeah.
today's standard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
for
you,
sure.
you have a Sonic.
And that's
that-
really old technology, too. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
push
something
rods
worked and this
Let,
thing's
let's take
old.
let's take a stock Sonic and race it versus a stock Grand Prix, and then do a gas mileage comparison. I mean, it is very the GTP is going to murder a stock Sonic, and it's
yeah.
going to get comparable gas mileage.
Which seems
that's crazy.
so backwards.
Yeah,
So backwards.
Those are heavy cars.
Yeah. I don't know if I had to pick one. I'd probably go with the Bonneville only because they look sweet and they kind of look a little
Yeah.
aerodynamic.
I do love
But the
Bonnevilles.
GTPs are smaller
Yep.
and
I would assume lighter.
yeah. Oh, I'm
Which
sure.
GTP spoiler produces the least drag?
Probably
None.
None.
The sexy edition.
Yeah,
The
the
early
SE.
sexy editions that have
Ooh.
no spoiler.
They look so bad though with no
Eh,
spoiler. They do not look good.
Oh my god, the like 97, 98 with the stupid shark front end or whatever.
Yep.
Oh man,
The tiny bumper in the front.
Oh yeah.
I bought one of those cars once, a 98 SE.
Immediately
and it
threw
had
it in the trash.
It had a centrifugal supercharger kit on it, headers, and a whole bunch of stuff.
And it was the ugly one.
It was tan, light
Even
tan.
better. I mean,
Yeah.
you want to talk about sleeper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Grandma's Grand Prix.
Captain Slow said cover the rear wheels. Yes, I've also heard people get advantages from turbofan wheels,
Oh yeah.
and not only the rear wheels, but like there's a reason why we have half flares on the front of our Sonic. Because if your front wheels stick out,
Yep.
that's also like
Yeah.
way more drag.
Get that air over and around so it's not hitting
Yeah.
it and
Not only is it a flat wall surface, the tire, but it's also spinning
into
the,
the
other
air.
way.
Yeah.
I'm pretty curious to see. Trevor and I are going to do a splitter, canards, and a drag style wing for my Sonic.
Ah, yes, the catfish. That's what it was.
That really,
Yep.
I'm
That
curious to
might
see how it
change.
affects my gas mileage.
Yeah.
The
didn't think
splitter
about that.
probably won't help because it forces the air to go over the car instead of under the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it might hurt it a little bit, but the drag style wing on the back,
That might do
hatchbacks have terrible aero.
Oh,
Their aero is terrible.
so much dirty air behind it.
So this drag style wing on the back, I'm gonna do little side vertical extensions and then like a little wing
Yeah.
extender on the top. It
Look
might
up
actually
any
improve
like
it.
hatchback drag car, they will never not have a wing.
Yes.
Never. Like
Except for our Sonic.
they all freaking swoop
Yeah.
you up and get
I'm still
mud
waiting
all
on
over the window.
Still waiting on Trevor to make me that drag wing.
Well, I guess we're making two.
Yeah.
I guess so.
So
What are
I
you
guess
guys
we're
doing
making
tomorrow?
two.
Let's go.
We're just gonna make it out of Kydex, so it'll be pretty easy. Like if it needs some flex, which it will need a little bit, we'll
Heat
heat it
gun.
up a little bit. And
Yeah. That's what I was thinking with the Sonic is just remove the stock wing, lay it down on a piece of Kydex, heat gun the two sides and kind of fold it over and then just cut it where we want it and
Yep.
call it a day.
Al's a bumper. You guys know the Honey Badger. That's a flat sheet of Kydex
Yeah.
that he just hair dried around the front of his bumper.
Put the middle two bolts in and get it hot and
Yeah.
work your way around.
Yep.
Yep.
We don't have a lot of time. What car do you want to do next? Hypermile build.
Well, at Cobalt, it has to be an LNF.
With an
Yeah.
XFE training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh
Even
my
a turbo-
gosh.
That might
Yeah.
win. That might win.
That would win
seriously
everything.
overall,
Forgot
about
everything
those.
that we do here.
Yeah, so for anyone listening, the base model Cobalt in 2008 and 2009, I believe, it came in a model called the XFE, and it was bare bones, stripped,
Arguably
Crank
the
windows.
coolest Cobalt model ever made.
arguably, yes. Crank windows,
No sunroof.
no sunroof, obviously. I think it didn't have rear deck speakers. I can't remember exactly, but
Yeah, there
it
was-
had some absurdly long F23 trans in it as well. So if you mated that to an LNF and did 70 on the highway, ooh, you might get close to 40.
You better
Or
not
over.
floor it.
Yeah.
If you floor it, that train is breaking. Tall
F20
gears.
F23s are pretty strong.
They're
Tall
stronger than
gears
35s.
with that torque.
Would it feel like a big turbo car because the gears are so long?
Oh
I
man.
don't know.
I don't think so because the LNF spool's so quick.
A stock
I'm more
turbo
talking
would make good low end torque, and you'd have like a lot of average power.
Yeah.
my
Somebody
thing
try
is
that.
Power band maybe. Let's do it. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
tall
Who's here?
tall gears with high torque is bad times for trannies.
Your clutch will not be happy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and clutches for sure.
Lightweight flywheel. We didn't touch on that.
Oh, yeah.
That'll help a little.
Lightweight everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lightweight everything.
Lightweight everything.
Anything that spins, especially.
Someone brought it up here. Something about hail damaged cars getting better gas mileage than non.
I guess I
And
could see
The golf ball
idea.
effect.
Yeah, and then Kohami said Mythbusters did an episode where they added spheres to the bodywork and it got better gas mileage, and it makes sense because I mean, think of a golf ball. It's not perfectly round for a reason.
Yeah. It's weird,
Wow.
but it's a thing, I
Yeah.
guess.
I've honestly never heard of that before. That's crazy. Okay.
We should have taken Ashley's car before we repaired it and driven it down the highway and saw if it got better gas mileage. Because that hers showed up with all sorts of hail damage.
Everybody's gonna buy hail damage cars now.
Everybody's
All right, here we go. Ultimate build. Hail damage LNF with a XFE F23 in it. There we go.
We need a Steely and a hammer and somebody's nice car. Who's gonna volunteer?
Just
Not it.
ding, 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 ding.
A ball peen hammer and just go to it.
Ooh. Although I did have a guy I worked with who had a Cruze Eco, a manual Cruze Eco, and he lived in Grand Rapids as well, and we commuted to Plainwell every day, and he got consistently 45 plus miles per gallon on the highway.
I've seen
Wow.
those Cruze Ecos.
Yeah.
But
But I
I've known
mean,
a few people with them.
Granted, he would drive like 68.
he would drive like our paper says.
Yeah, he would drive like our paper says. But that's pretty impressive.
That's
That
very
is.
good. Yeah.
Yep.
My wife's auto cruise, no matter how you drove it, would get like 29, 30. Like
Just
that's just.
on the
I'm
dot.
like, what the hell? I missed my Grand Prix. Like that was huge and had a giant trunk and it was comfortable and
Oh,
Yeah.
got the same mileage and went fast
That Cruze Eco, though, I mean, if you drag raced a semi truck, you'd lose.
for sure.
But
yes.
you can get high 30s.
It'd cost you 12 cents to lose that race, and that's it.
I would, I would be curious if you took a one of those cruises and put our V3 turbo on it. That'd be interesting.
Would it make it better? Maybe.
I would think
I think
so.
it would.
Yeah.
It'd be in boost less,
Yeah,
cruising on the highway.
less back pressure between the turbo and the engine.
I think that's probably the biggest thing. I mean, it would be lower boost, but moving the same amount of
Air.
raw airflow to
Yeah.
make the power that it requires to maintain the speed. So, I mean, I think it's kind of moot, but
Yeah.
I think it would
the
improve
back
the
pressure,
efficiency.
I think, yeah, the efficiency, I think, would improve.
Yeah. Those are
Some.
surprisingly heavy, right? One of you two knows the difference between Sonic and Cruise.
Yeah, cruises
yeah.
are heavy.
Cruises are definitely way heavier.
Really
Yeah.
heavy. They're like
500
thir-
pounds, aren't they?
They're
It's a
like
lot.
3,300 pounds, and a
Yeah.
Sonic is 28.
Because I think our LTZ Cruise was 3,400 pounds.
Yeah.
Cruise weighs more than my Colorado.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy for that tiny car.
Is it just new enough that airbags and seats and all that
The
are heavier?
GM filled it with lead or something. I don't know. But they are not light by any means. If you drive a Sonic and a Cruise with the same exact mods, it is a night and day difference.
For sure.
Guys, we got 5 minutes left, so in the comments, any questions, comments, talk about gas mileage. We'll try to answer them as we wrap up here.
Hey, Guy, where is that G5?
Yeah, where's
Car
your
because-
XFE G5?
Because we really want spec base model.
Yeah, spec base model.
Yes.
And crank windows, like it
I don't
sounds like
think Steve heard
XFE
about
is a
spec
perfect.
base model yet.
What's going on here?
It's our time attack series that we've come
Yeah.
up with.
So Grid Life does a thing called Spec Fit, which is great, but we developed a better solution,
Yes.
which is spec base model Cobalt.
So
If these guys would buy them, I will buy them. Like, let's do this.
Has to be a
Spec
manual.
base model.
Yep.
Has to be a 2.2.
Yep.
Same
all
mods.
get-
And we like
Same
allow
mods.
a couple
Oh,
mods to
man.
make them fun.
So
Yeah.
you can do
Yeah.
like intake tune, and then we all have to run the same tire.
Yep.
And then suspension mods is a set
And then-
series.
And we'll tune
Oh,
them.
man.
We'll tune
That could be
them
really fun.
Yeah.
for equal horsepower. So, like, if Trevor's makes 160 wheel and mine makes 155,
We'll
we'll
detune and level them
Well,
out.
Do
Yeah.
them
Get
like
'em
circle
perfect.
track cars. Put an exhaust restrictor in the end of the pipe. There
Yep.
you go. Problem solved.
How much fun would that be, Gingerman? Like 6 base model Cobalt.
So
all
fun.
140 horsepower,
all wheel to
And
wheel
you are-
racing.
yeah.
slow car fast at
How many
its
laps
finest.
until we start bumping into each other?
What was
Get
I
kicked
thinking
out.
saying 160? Like, it probably is 140. And since it's a base model, we'll just all gut them.
Exactly.
Like they
You
will be
gut 'em.
tin cans making 140 wheel,
Yep.
all the same mods.
Yep.
Like,
And you don't care.
Yeah.
It sounds like the perfect racing solution here.
yeah. We
But
don't
need
need
a-
any brakes because who's touching that pedal?
if you put a wide 200 tread wear on that, you'd be good. You really wouldn't need brakes.
Yeah.
Are we doing drum brakes in the rear, or do they have to
yeah.
be?
Drum brakes in the rear.
I mean,
All right.
Drum brakes bite good. I mean, you
Well-
food handle them. We're going to be sliding
Yeah.
everywhere.
we might have to put brake proportioning valves to get that to work.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna crank the e-brake all the way up, tighten that cable up. and
So you just
eat
like
that.
Because
just touch it.
one thing I think about with that is that the heating and how it affects the brake pedal feel of drum brakes. So like the brakes from lap 1 to lap 5 are going to be very different.
Yeah.
So we might just want to switch to rotors.
You plan to have brakes by lap 5?
We want to do a full 20-minute session.
Yeah.
All flyers.
Yep.
Like ZZP.
the warm-up lap flyer. Cool down
ZZP
flyer.
liveries, all different accent colors though. Like same
Yeah.
wheels. Like let's freaking do this.
We'll do like the off-brand version of the Fast and Furious graphics on the side. So
We
they're
have
made out of
someone-
like 8-bit pixels and stuff.
Like follows us with a trailer with like 15 RPF ones with the same tire, and we all just slap them
Grab
on.
from it.
I
Well,
love it.
and the best thing, and this is specifically to make Ryan mad, is they would all be 4x100.
Yeah.
The ultimate bolt pattern.
Paul's in. It sounds like.
Yeah.
We can
Paul's
get
in.
Honda RPF ones.
Paul's in. There we go.
What
we
are we at now?
got
5?
enough places you guys can
Paul's
stay.
never been here?
I don't think so.
He says he hasn't.
First trip.
Well,
Get your ass up here. Let's go.
Has
Well-
his car even been here?
Come roll
Paul's
in the
got
snow.
a Kappa.
Kind of.
I think the Goblin would be better suited for
Oh, I
up here.
forgot.
I forgot that. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Goblin.
Yeah, bring
Oh,
that
yeah.
on up here.
Is that done now? He finished that.
He
Yes.
was driving it around his yard the other
His
day.
plan is to take it to our Tail of the Dragon trip we're doing here, boys.
Are we doing that this year?
Dang.
Yeah.
In October again, like normal? Or?
I have a date. Talk to me later.
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
So
Definitely interested.
he was too scared of driving the Sky because it's too crazy, so he built a Goblin.
Yes. Yeah.
It's kind of
I see where you're going with that.
Trevor, don't try to make sense of it.
I'm hoping he's gonna let me drive it because that would be amazing.
Oh,
Oh boy.
I do love the idea
What say you, Paul?
of a Goblin. I've heard they're a bit sketchy,
Perfect.
but I guess we'll end on this. Paul says, does large intake runner / throttle body size affect mile per gallon negatively? LS4 Montana. Wait, what? LS4 Montana?
Oh, you haven't seen that thing before?
I saw the 3800 swapped one. I didn't know there was an LS4 swapped one.
There is. It's awesome. Because why not?
Yeah, exactly.
If it fits, it ships.
Paul, I guess if you're referencing large length or large diameter, longer intake runner in length will decrease torque, increase horsepower, which probably wouldn't really have an effect.
You're going to have less torque at any given RPM.
Yeah.
So it will take more throttle input to create the power required
Needed
to
to move
overcome
it.
drag to keep the car at speed. So
Yeah.
potentially that would increase load on the engine and lower gas mileage, I would think.
Yep.
In theory, I don't know. This is guessing. I'm not an engineer.
I don't know. I assume with an LS4 Montana, you're probably not too worried about gas mileage.
Yeah.
My mom had a Montana, and that I don't recall that getting good gas mileage by any means.
Did any of those old minivans get good gas mileage?
That's where the 369 gears come from in the Grand Prix and stuff. They're
Oh,
all the-
really?
Yeah, the minivans had the gears.
Didn't those all come with 3400s?
Yeah, it's same tranny.
Oh, well, there we go. Look at that.
Well, unless you guys have
All right,
anything
boys.
else, that's 5 o'clock.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out. Good luck with your gas spendings the next couple months or year, whatever it is.
Yeah, let's hope something happens.
Hey, Renee, real quick, Renee Martinez. Email me, Tim@ZZ Performance. I can help you with any Sonic questions you have.
Yep. If you guys have any needs to impulse buy and justify it with getting better MPGs, ask us. We'll tell you what you can mod your car to get 0.01 MPG better.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
there you
We
go.
can.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
We'll see you.
Cool.
Thanks
All
for
right,
hanging out.
guys.
All right.
I feel like